Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching this out there on the World Wide Web. This is Jeremy Geelan for SYS-CON TV here at 12th Cloud Expo. Cloud Expo, New York. Always a delight to have the CTO of SOA Software with me, Alistair Farquharson. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I am the better, of course, for having already seen you speak, and I know there's all sorts of things going on with SOA Software, as always. Do you think that 2013 is going to be the year of APIs, Alistair?
Well, I think it already is the year of APIs. I think so. I think it's because it underpins so much of what cloud is about and so much about what mobile is about that I think that people are going to be driven to an API economy, whether they want to or not.
And the joy is you have been saying this all along, so you must be feeling, I mean, I'm not going to say smug, but you must be feeling, content at the moment.
I am. It's just up to enterprises to realize that they actually need some infrastructure to support these APIs that are so important to their business.
But we are going to help them realize. So let's back right up. Let's imagine now that it's the CEO who now, we're back in that plane. He's seen that API thing now enough times. He's said, I've got to get my mind around this and ask where we are in our organization. So let's do the elevator pitch for what's changed in the way that things are architected that's made what you've always said so important.
Well, I think what a CEO needs to look at is they need to look at an API similarly to the way they look at a website. So 10 years ago, people were building websites and trying to figure out how to meet this new market, this new economy that is the web-based economy. Now what we're looking at is people building APIs to try and get that same level of return and that same kind of dynamic channel out of APIs that they did out of their website. So I think the CEO needs to sit back and think about what APIs do I need to build that expose my core functionality, and how do I make money doing so?
Well, that's short, sharp, and shiny. Now, can you monetize each new idea like that, or is it going to be something where API functionality is perhaps part of a greater package? I know you don't have to have a view on that, but what do you sense?
No, I think the API is part of a greater package. It's part of how do I actually expose that business value rather than how do I make money out of an API call directly. You can't charge a developer who's building a mobile application for using your API, for using a piece of infrastructure basically, because that's going to limit development, it's going to constrain development. What you want is for your API to be free, but you to be making money perhaps in the traditional ways you make money, by shipping t-shirts or whatever the case might be. That's how you want to make money. This is just a channel through which you can make money. Indirect.
Is there any limit technically to the complexity of an API call? I mean, if I want to do, now obviously we have this big data element at cloud. If I wanted to do, I don't know, predictive analytics and say this is what I would be doing if only I could find out back, like real time, whether that would make sense for me. Is that the kind of thing that can go up and down the wire?
Pretty much anything, as long as you can express it from a business perspective. I mean, that's always the challenge, is that somebody can come up with potentially a great idea technically, makes a lot of sense technically, but maybe there's no business value in it, or maybe it's really, really difficult to express that value, or maybe it's too complicated to use. So just like any other product, if I brought out a cell phone and I had this amazing idea about cell phones, but it looked like a piece of rubbish and it didn't perform its function correctly, then no one would buy it, even if there was potentially no other cell phone on the market. And that's, if you look at the success of the iPhone, it's often about aesthetics and simplicity that drives success rather than the fact that maybe it has better signal strength. So you really have to be careful about how you're actually crafting this API, how it's an extension of your business and your brand, and how it's going to bring in revenue in the simplest, easiest ways possible.
Now, we've got the problem set. Who is coming to SOA Software? Are we allowed to name them to get that help?
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to name them, but
generically,
a lot of travel companies, because they have a lot of integration issues, right? Financial institutions. But the travel ones are interesting because in the past, historically, what they've done is they've tried to cater to each partner. They would go out and they build an integration with a particular partner specifically for that partner. And this was kind of one of the areas where service orientation was never fully executed. They would go out to each partner and each partner would force them to change. Something about their API, something about their protocol stack, something about their security mechanism changed from one partner to another. So they ended up with a huge proliferation of these things. I think an API, it shifts the center of gravity. And what I mean by that is an organization goes out, CEO-driven, funded project, they build an API, and they market the API as a product. Now, it's the responsibility of every single partner to adopt that API the way it is. they don't really have a choice. So that's why one of the fundamental things that I've seen changed about APIs, and specific to the travel industry, the attraction of an API is to create this arm's length relationship with your partner and allow them to grow and allow them to build things that you couldn't build in the first place. Long answer to a short question, but...
No, it's a proper answer to what was a complicated question. So imagine that, you know, you've now associated SOA Software Inc. with these APIs. So now we've piqued people's interest. Where are they going to go? They go to the world's best domain name, SOA.com. But where should they go and what will they see?
Well, they need to go to our website and look and see what products we actually offer for API management. So API management is broken down into things like developer community, API gateway, security and OAuth services, lifecycle management for APIs. So they need to go and come to our website to learn. They need to come to our website to figure out what products we offer in the space and basically how to put together an API strategy.
Now, there's only about 10 gazillion people watching, but this is a very private question, so answer it quietly. Did anyone yet offer you API.com?
No.
Please write to Alistair and offer him API.com. Suggestion came from Cloud Expo here in New York. Thank you so much. Alistair Farquharson, CTO of SOA Software Inc. Thank you for following along out there on the World Wide Web.